Welcome to the crown jewel of Formula One, the 2025 Monaco Grand Prix, a race where history is made on the narrow streets of Monte Carlo. With its glamorous backdrop and unforgiving barriers, the streets of Monte Carlo did not deliver an interesting or dramatic ace, as usual. Instead, fans were treated to a high-stakes game of strategic intrigues, with mid-level teams doing their best to benefit from the newly imposed mandatory two-stops rule for the Monaco Grand Prix. This year, it was Lando Norris who etched his name into the annals of motorsport, claiming a maiden victory in the Principality. In Saturday's qualifying shootout, Norris stunned the field with a record-breaking 109.954 lap, narrowly edging out Charles Leclerc, the local favorite, who had been fastest in FP1, FP2, FP3, Q1 and Q2 by 0.109 seconds. McLaren's Oscar Piastri locked out the second row with Lewis Hamilton in fourth place, while Max Verstappen and Isaac Hadjar of Racing Bulls lined up close behind. All eyes were on the tight margins of less than 1.3s, separating the top 10 drivers. However, for the race on Sunday, Ferrari's Lewis Hamilton would receive a three-place grid penalty for impeding Max Verstappen in Q1, which saw him drop to the 7th position behind Max Verstappen, Isaac Hadjar and Fernando Alonso. The incidents that led to Lewis Hamilton's penalty has led some pundits wondering if someone in Scuderia Ferrari is deliberately trying to sabotage Lewis Hamilton, or if it is the usual Ferrari incompetence that made them give him the wrong information about Max Verstappen's push lap that caused him to impede Max. It is probably more of Ferrari's incompetence because we recall that Charles Leclerc was also given the wrong information about Lewis Hamilton not pitting under the final safety car at the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix only a week ago. Fred Vasseur needs to address the shortcomings of Scuderia Ferrari and stop them from hemorrhaging points if Ferrari is to become a serious title contender. In a tight race for the championships, these incompetences could make the difference between winning and losing. Norris led cleanly off the line, despite a front lockup into turn 1. Leclerc slotted in behind, with Piastri holding position. The mandated two-stop rule added strategic complexity, which rather than promote pure racing and pit stop under or overcuts, instead reinforced the usual Monaco track position as king tactic. While it spectacularly failed to produce the expected exciting race, it did produce a lot of tactical shenanigans that made on-track racing even less competitive and just as boring as before. Nevertheless, as one of the commentators put it, it is better to try something new that fails than to keep doing the same thing that has not been successful year after year. While Norris and the leaders ran clean opening stints, the midfield scrambled to exploit undercuts and overcuts. Max Verstappen delayed his second stop, momentarily taking the lead, hoping for a safety car that never came. Of the frontrunners, only Lewis Hamilton managed to break the Monaco mold, starting 7th and climbing to 5th. Although held up for a considerable period of time by the slow Aston Martin of Fernando Alonso and the relatively slow Racing Bull of Isaac Hadjar, Lewis Hamilton was able to undercut these two through a blend of precise tire management and a well-timed first stop, a rare feat on this narrow circuit. At the end of lap 14, Isaac Hadjar of Racing Bulls, who had been running in 6th position, became the first driver to pit from the top 10 but was able to return to the track in 8th, thanks to the efforts of his teammate Liam Lawson, who had, with overtaking being as difficult as always around the Monte Carlo circuit, deliberately slowed down the cars behind in order to give Hadjar the gap necessary to pit and remain in front. These inter-team tactics would end up being used extensively throughout the Grand Prix. On lap 18, Lewis Hamilton of Ferrari made his first stop and was able to overcut both Hadjar and Fernando Alonso of Aston Martin, moving him from a net 7th to 5th position. 2021. The payoff for Racing Bulls? Hadjar finished a career-best 6th and Lawson 8th, securing double points in a season where they've struggled to break through. Meanwhile, 10th-placed Carlos Sainz Jr. was using the same tactics seen earlier from Lawson to help his Williams teammate Alexander Albon. This frustrated the chasing George Russell of Mercedes to the point where on lap 50, Russell passed Albon by cutting the Nouvelle chicane, ostensibly due to Albon's erratic driving. Russell refused to return the position, stating over radio that he would rather take a penalty than remain stuck behind the Williams. In response to this radio, the stewards imposed a harsher-than-usual drive-through penalty for the illegal overtake. In the final laps, Norris made his second and final pit stop and came up behind Max Verstappen, who still had one final pit stop left to make. Verstappen decided to delay his pit stop as much as possible in the hope that a safety car or red flag might be deployed, which would possibly allow him to make his stop and remain in the lead. Norris, on fresh tires, quickly caught Verstappen but was unable to pass, leading to him being caught by Charles Leclerc and Oscar Piastri. Despite the close racing with gaps between these four cars reaching as little as half a second, Norris held his lead, and no one was able to overtake the person in front. When Max Verstappen finally pitted on lap 77, Norris finally retook the lead, then set the fastest lap on the final lap, winning his first Monaco Grand Prix and sixth Grand Prix overall by 3 seconds. Leclerc and Piastri completed the podium. The final lap saw McLaren teammates split by Leclerc, who pushed hard to bring Ferrari a home win, but Norris was composed under pressure, managing tire wear and track position flawlessly. Crossing the line, Norris claimed his first Monaco Grand Prix victory. His ecstatic radio message echoed through the McLaren garage. "Monaco, baby, yeah, baby," a nod to his hero Jenson Button's 2009 triumph. This was the first time that McLaren was claiming the top spot in Monaco since Lewis Hamilton's victory in 2008. With the win, Norris closed the championship gap to teammate Oscar Piastri to just 3 points. Leclerc's podium brought some cheer for Ferrari, while Hamilton's fifth-place finish made him the largest position gainer among the point scorers and showed his resilience in overcoming the adversity and disappointment of his 3-place grid drop. Racing Bull's strategic brilliance brought them a vital haul, while Williams brought in a haul of 3 points, more than that of Mercedes, who scored 0 points. Monaco once again proved that fortune favors the bold. Next up, the Spanish Grand Prix in Barcelona. Will McLaren's momentum continue, or will Red Bull and Ferrari strike back? Join us for more action in the 2025 Formula One season. Subscribe, like, and follow for more F1 race recaps and analysis.